All right, the last little piece is on binomial coefficients. And this, we're not going to go that in depth with the whole lesson of binomial coefficients. I just want you to be able to find a binomial coefficient. So first, I want to make sure that you understand factorials, okay? Factorials, and this is kind of taught back in high school and some algebra classes, but a factorial is nothing but the breakdown, walking down a number in multiplication, okay? So if I was to give you 4 factorial, that just simply means 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. It is the walking down, the counting multiplication of that number till you get to 1. And so you know you're dealing with a factorial because it has an exclamation mark behind your number. So if you multiply 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, you would get 24. If you had 7 factorial, that's simply just going to be 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Which if you take your calculator and multiply all of that together, that will give you 5,040. Okay? Now we can be a little fancy with the factorials. We can do parentheses. 38 minus 32 factorial. Now, obviously, you would not do the factorial above 38 and 32. That's way too much. But you would do the parenthesis first, which is subtract. And that would give me 6 factorial. And then I would multiply 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And that would give us 720. So all of this is the multiplication breakdown of a number. Now the last factorial example is a division. And I want to show this example that's going to lead us into how we find the binomial coefficients. So 9 factorial divided by 4 factorial. When you're in division, you're going to walk your top all the way down until you get to the number that's on the bottom. And the reason for that is that once you hit 4 factorial, they can cancel out. So it's kind of a way to simplify where you don't have to have a huge number on top and a huge number on the bottom and then trying to reduce that fraction. You can simply just walk your top until you get to the number that's on the bottom in factorial form, and it will cancel. So now you would just simply multiply 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5 together, and that would give us 15,120. So, with that being said, binomial coefficients. They're going to be set up as n over x. Okay, now we look at it like a fraction, but you don't actually have the division line. And the formula for finding binomial coefficients is the factorial of n over the factorial of x times the factorial of n minus x. Now, that's 3 numbers, okay? So, obviously, I'm going to give you your problem in this form. Parentheses, a number on top of another number. So, in order to find that binomial coefficient, you're going to take n, and it will be the top number, factorial, divided by whatever that bottom number is represented by x factorial. And then what this is in the parentheses is nothing but the difference of the 2 numbers as a factorial, okay? So let me show you with an example. If I were to ask you to do 5 over 3, find the binomial coefficient for 5 over 3. So 5 would be n and 3 would be x. So you would have 5 factorial on top, 3 factorial on the bottom, and the difference between 5 and 3 is 2. So 2 factorials on the bottom as well. Now, this is very similar to the division, but you have 2 numbers on the bottom. So you're going to walk your top till you get to the biggest one on the bottom, therefore it can cancel. So I'm going to walk 5 down to 5 times 4 to 3 factorial, because the 3 factorial is bigger than the 2, and it can cancel out. So that will leave me with just multiplying 5 times 4 on top, which is 20, over, this is 2 factorials. That's technically 2 times 1. 2 factorial won't make a difference because 2, the next number behind it is 1. So 2 factorial is the same as dividing by 2. However, when you go higher than 2, you got to break down that as a factorial on the bottom. And I'll show you an example. So we have 20 divided by 2, which is just 10. So the binomial coefficient is 10. And like I said, I'm not going in depth. I just want you to be able to do this formula to give me that whole number, that coefficient number, which is 10. So let's look at another example. If we were to do 7 over 3, that would give us 7 factorial over 3 factorial and 4 factorial, because the difference, if you subtract 7 minus 3, you get 4. Okay, so that's why we got 4 factorial. So we're going to walk the top. 7 times 6 times 5 times 4. I'm going to stop at 4 because 4 is bigger than the 3, and I can allow them to cancel. So that would give us, you're going to multiply 7 times 6 times 5, and that would give us 210. And this is what I was saying earlier. This is not just 3, this is 3 times 2 times 1. That's actually 3 factorial. So you're dividing by 6. So 210 divided by 6 would give us 35. Okay. What if we were to have 6, 1? That would be 6 factorial over 1 factorial and 5 factorial. So we're going to walk the top just to 5 because they can cancel. So we're left with 6 over 1, which is just 6. So you can always say that if I give you a number over 1, then the answer is going to be that number. It would be the same setup if you did 15 over 1. That would give us 15 factorial over 1 factorial, and the difference is 14 factorial. Well, you're only going to take the top to 14, and that will leave us with 15 over 1. So you can just memorize and know that anytime you have a number over 1, it's just that number. Okay. What if we did a number over 0? Well, that would give us 9 factorial over 0 factorial, and the difference is just 9. 9 minus 0 is just 9. And so you don't have to walk your top down because 9 factorials will cancel. So if you cancel out your top, you technically just have a 1 left. Now, a lot of algebra professors, mathematicians, they're still debating what 0 factorial equals. But right now, 0 factorial is the same as 1. So 1 over 1 is just 1. So anytime I give you a number over 0, then you can just best believe that's a 1. You don't have to even show that factorial breakdown because, again, the 17s would cancel, and so you left with 1 over 0 factorial, which is just 1. So we got number over 0 is 1. If we do a number over 1, it's that number. What if you have the same number? What if we were to do 4 over 4? What would that give us? Well, that's 4 factorial over 4 factorial, and if you do the difference, that's 0. So it looks just like if it was over 0. So when you say that this 2 would make us have a 1, because you're going to be left with 1 over 0 factorial, which is still 1. So if I give you the same number over itself, it is also 1. Okay? Let's do one more. Let's do 12 over 3. So we got 12 factorial over 3 factorial, and the difference is 9. So that'd be 9 factorial. So we're going to walk the top till we get to 9 factorial. So the 9 factorials cancel. So you're going to multiply 12 times 11 times 10, which will give us 1320. And you're going to divide. That's 3 times 2 times 1, because that's a 3 factorial, which is 6. And 1320 divided by 6 is 220. So recap, not too hard. We're going to take the top number, factorial, bottom number, factorial, and the difference. You're going to walk the top till you get to the biggest one that's on the bottom, so they cancel. And then you're going to just simply multiply what you have on top, and then do the factorial of what you have on the bottom, and then divide. Now, if you have a number over 1, your answer would just be that number. If you have a number over 0, that answer will be 1. And if you have a number over itself, that answer is 1. So that's it with binomial coefficient. You'll have a couple of those problems on your test, and your test is Monday. Please make sure that you study both the 2 handouts of your multiple choice for 5-1 and 5-2, and then go back and look at the events notes. And I worked a problem that dealt with you finding not A, and A or B, or A and B, and how many students that consist of. That is included in the 5-2 multiple choice, but you will have one problem that's going to ask you to do not A and B, A or B or C, which is 4 extra problems that are not multiple choice. I want to see if you can give me those numbers, those outcomes by themselves without having to pick the multiple choice. So the whole test is 31 problems. It's multiple choice, but I do have 32 problems on there that has that one particular age chart and you being able to give me the possible outcomes. So make sure you study. Monday I'll answer any questions you have before you take your test, but make sure you are knowledgeable of your multiple choice, of this binomial coefficients, and that problem off of your 5-2 events notes, actual note section.